Okay, so we're going to start the social media strengths using Facebook and Twitter to advance your cause, sponsored by VOR. We have Adrienne Bredesen as our guest today. She'll be speaking to strategies involving Facebook and Twitter. We'll start with Facebook, using Facebook to advance your cause. And I'm going to very quickly turn that over to Adrienne. She can introduce the participants online, both to your background and the work that your company, ePower Marketing, does for other organizations. So, Adrienne, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks, Tammy. As Tammy said, I am with ePower Marketing. We are an integrated online marketing firm based out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and we've been working with VOR for a few years now. We offer a wide variety of services to our clients, most notably the social media marketing as it applies to this webinar. We have over 10 people at the office right now, and we're growing with clients from coast to coast. So we've got quite a bit of experience behind us that we can apply to VOR and other nonprofits. So to the next slide, we do try to practice what we preach, and we are available on a variety of social media platforms. So we invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, Pinterest even, and we also have a blog. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions after the presentation. You can find us on any of those channels or through our website as well. So to get right into the Facebook section, as you all are probably aware, Facebook was actually the original social networking community. It was created in 2004 for college students, but it has grown to be quite a bit more than that since then. Right now there's over 1 billion people actively liking and commenting on Facebook, which is averaging about 3.2 billion activities every day. So to get organizations like VOR and other nonprofits active on Facebook really helps them become part of these conversations that are already happening and access to really powerful and free viral marketing. So VOR members or anyone actually can use their personal accounts as well as branded pages to interact with and publicize the organizations they care about. So,
could I ask a question about free viral marketing?
Absolutely.
Is it Facebook that gives you that protection against? I always wonder about how people could use stuff on your Facebook page or.
Sure. I mean, a lot of Facebook is
virus.
Anything you put on Facebook has the potential to go viral, which just means it has the potential to be shared for free.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. I understand. I was just reading it differently. Okay.
Yeah, and viruses are actually pretty common on Facebook, so you do always have to be really careful. Whatever you click through on Facebook could be a virus, so you always have to make sure you trust the person that you're clicking it through and that it looks like a reliable source.
Okay.
So that is an important thing to mention, especially as you're using it as a brand, just in case an account were to get hacked and your page were to start automatically posting some virus or some malware kind of links. You would have to address that from the page perspective as well. So we will start right in with how organizations can succeed on Facebook. It starts with building a branded social presence. It's really important to tie in the official branding of your organization, from your logo and your colors to using the same voice and tone in all of your social content as you do on your website or blog or any marketing material. And you always want to give people a reason to join and engage with your page. So to connect with your target audience, it's really important to figure out who that is and why they would want to connect with you. So you need to give them, like I said, a reason to join and engage with the page. For VOR, the target audiences would be the VOR members and supporters, as well as any other nonprofit organizations, and then potentially any politicians, lobbyists, or other online influencers that they could get involved. So to educate the general public, it's important to break news stories, not just about the nonprofit, but also about any important issues at hand. Anytime that a story would show up in the news that maybe your fans or followers wouldn't be able to see on a daily basis, having it on your Facebook page would be a really important way to add value to the page. It's also important to let the fans know what you stand for and what initiatives you're currently working on. There can be so much going on within an organization that it can be hard to keep everyone up to date on everything. So social media, it's a really easy way to kind of pop out a really broad update on what it is you're doing so that everyone kind of has at least a top-level understanding of what you're working on. It's also a really good idea to use your Facebook page to demonstrate how important your initiative is in the lives of those you help. So to get across the message on a more personal level of what you're doing and how you're helping is going to be really beneficial on Facebook. And then we also recommend giving kind of a behind-the-scenes look into any office activities or events that are being held for the nonprofit will be really beneficial as well. So then to engage your audience, we recommend posting regularly and keeping the content informative and interesting without being too long or being too overwhelming. To post regularly would maybe mean one post a day if you could manage that, or even like up to three posts a week if that's a more realistic schedule for you. You always want to answer questions and respond to comments, both positive and negative, on the Facebook page. To start discussions and get your fans talking, you will increase the page's exposure while you're creating a social community at the same time.
Is there, Adrienne, excuse me, is there is there such a thing as too much of a good thing? Can you post too often?
You actually can. The last data that Facebook provided was every post has about a 3-hour maximum shelf life, kind of. So if you're going to post something within 3 hours of posting something else, you're going to cut that one short.
Oh, I see.
If that makes sense. So in the 3 hours after you post one, you probably don't want to post anything else just because you're going to overrun the news feed. And Facebook, they now have something called EdgeRank, which determines how long and how often a page's updates are shown in a personal user's news feed timeline. So you're always competing against anyone else that a person follows on Facebook to be shown on their news feed. So you can hurt yourself by overposting.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for telling me that too, Adrienne. This is Julie. I was overposting, and so now I've been trying to just post two a day, or one. So, and at least giving it 3 hours.
Yep.
So thank you for that advice earlier too.
No, I'm looking at the VOR Facebook page, and so what you're talking about is when something goes from, like the way it's set up here, there are posts on the left-hand side, and then they move over to a list of recent posts. Is that what you're talking about? These 3-hour time, or is it?
Yep. Anytime that you're posting on with the timeline, how it's set up now on Facebook, it moves your posts around depending on the time of day and when you post and how often you post and everything like that. But if you can post just if you all you can do is post once a day, that's just those status updates. And then depending how often you post, Facebook kind of automatically rearranges it on your page.
Okay. If somebody else posts on the page,
yep, that's completely separate, and
that's separate. Okay.
Yep. You don't have any control over when someone else is going to post on your page.
Right.
And you're always looking for more people to post on your page, so Facebook does not penalize you if, two people back-to-back are asking questions or giving comments on the page. It's just when you're actually doing the status update.
Okay.
Can I also, if I could just double up on that question, so if you are answering a post, would that also affect that timeline?
Nope. If you're just responding to a post or commenting on someone else's post, that would not affect that 3-hour window.
Okay.
Because that's kind of it's an interaction rather than just a status update.
Okay, thanks.
And you want that. You want that kind of. It gives your page life if people are really engaged and commenting on what you've posted.
Absolutely. It gives your page life. And then also, if you think about it, you've probably seen on your personal timeline that maybe a friend of yours has commented on a page's wall.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you don't like that page, you see that your friend is interacting with it, and you're probably more likely to visit that page yourself. So having your fans interact on your wall is a great way to broaden the reach of your page because all of their friends will see their activity with your page.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just an extra level of maybe bringing new fans to the VOR page or to any page.
Okay, so you're saying that if I post on the VOR Facebook page, it also goes on my Facebook page?
Yes, depending on your security settings, there's kind of like a little update saying, Adrienne Bradison liked the VOR status update, or Adrienne Bradison commented on the VOR page.
Mm-hmm.
All of my friends then see that I'm interacting with this page, and they could come click through to the VOR page just to kind of see what I'm doing, and then they could like the page just based on what they see there.
Okay. This is all very basic for me, so thank you for answering those questions.
Oh, absolutely. It can get pretty complicated, and depending how you have your security settings set, that might not be the case, but you have to turn that off if you didn't want people to see what you were doing kind of thing. So on the most basic level, people do see when you're interacting with a page.
Okay.
If I can, just an anecdote. I had lunch with some friends from church over the weekend, and as my friends will know, I am not very active on my Facebook page. Certainly not in a personal kind of way. In fact, most of my personal posts relate to VOR articles, or I'm commenting on recently something in New Jersey. In fact, that was the story that my friend picked up on just by monitoring what I was doing. She asked me about the New Jersey situation and, how can that be happening? And we had I would have never gotten into that conversation with her over lunch had it not been for that one post. And she, of course, had no idea that it wasn't just New Jersey, that just how broad a national problem it is. So it really, it can take on a life of its own without you realizing it. In that case, my friend doesn't do much posting either, but she has been watching what I've been posting and others, and so it's a really helpful advocacy tool.
That's exactly it. You can spark conversations both online and offline with what you're doing on Facebook, so you might as well be using it to further the cause and educate people about what's going on.
Right.
All right. I guess we can go back to the slides. Kind of like Tammy's anecdote, you need to become an influential resource. So you can use your accounts to explain the purpose and goals of a nonprofit and then educate your friends about the cause and your involvement with it. And you can also recruit members and donations on Facebook. That's not something that we recommend doing often, but just a friendly reminder every once in a while would keep people kind of aware of the situation. So then the next slide is getting started on Facebook. It's pretty simple to get started on Facebook. We recommend setting up a personal account before creating the page. You can right now create a page without having a personal account, but you'll lose some of that influence and your personal ties, which can kind of keep the page a little less personal than what we recommend, especially in the nonprofit sector. And I can also send out a more in-depth resource if anyone does not have a Facebook account set up with kind of step-by-step instructions on how to do that and how to create the page. So if anyone's interested in that, just let me know and we can get that sent out.
I have my own personal Facebook page, which I rarely look at, and because I don't know what to do with it. But so it's also I also have a blog. Is it possible to set up a Facebook page for my blog?
Absolutely. I actually follow quite a few Facebook accounts of blogs I started reading first.
Okay, and that's do I register that as the blog?
Yep, right
Facebook,
from your personal
and I'll get
account.
another.
Yep, you would create a page from your personal account, and you can set everything up to be tailored to the blog. So nobody would see your personal account if they came to the blog page, but you would have the control through your personal account. So you just have one login and you can see everything right from one screen rather than having to go back and forth or anything like that.
Okay, so I'd go through my personal Facebook page to set up another page for the blog.
Yes.
Is that what
your personal account, they don't call pages, they just kind of call them your personal timeline.
Okay.
And then the page would be for your blog, and that's what's used
Yeah.
for businesses and big brands and nonprofits and everything like that.
Okay, good.
All right. So then optimizing the personal profile is kind of a first step in really making Facebook work for a brand. The first step would be to use the profile and cover photo space wisely. It's really easy to just leave the little silhouetted person as your default profile picture, but we recommend using a real photo. It establishes trust in the account and then really helps you network with people you might have met at different industry events or in your real life, that they can find you easily with a real photo of you as a profile photo. And then in terms of a cover photo, you can use something associated with a nonprofit if that's really what you're trying to tie with, or that can be more generic, but we do recommend having one set up so that the account looks up to date and optimized. And then to publicize your personal relationship with VOR or any nonprofit, there's a couple of different sections you can use. In the contact information, you can put the URL of the website right in there. And then if you have an email address associated with, say, VOR, or if you have a different email address associated with your blog, you can put that in there rather than like a Gmail or Yahoo email address. It'll just keep things more tied together. And then in the work section, you can just list your affiliation with any nonprofit and then link to the Facebook page within that. And the About You section is another place that you can mention your relationship with a nonprofit and why you believe in the organization. It doesn't have to take up the whole About You section. Just mentioning it would be enough to make it a beneficial addition. And then staying active is another really simple way to optimize your personal profile, just so that you're posting on your own wall and your friends' walls. Again, you can be talking about nonprofit. You don't have to get really personal. You can think of your Facebook page as strictly a way to further the cause of your nonprofit, if that is what you're going for. If you're sharing personal information as well, that's great too. It just depends how you want to use your Facebook account. You do want to make sure you're responding to others. If someone wrote on your wall, just make sure that you comment back or like it or do something to keep the account active. This is going to separate your account from some of the spam accounts that you're seeing on Facebook a lot. And then Facebook will give your activity more clout when you're seen as an active member of the community. Are there any questions on personal profile? All right, then we can go on optimizing an organization's page. You want to develop a complete profile and fill out as much of the page's information as you can. There's a lot of contact information and mission statements and About Us sections. Depending on how you set the page up, there are different kind of fields for you to fill in. Just make sure you fill out as many of them as possible. And then the timeline you can use to highlight key events in your history, so you can kind of go back, even if you just start the Facebook page, say today, and your actual nonprofit was created 15 years ago, you can kind of go back and add the highlights of your history through the timeline feature. And again, we recommend using the image space wisely. Use the logo as a profile picture. Get something else up in the cover photo to kind of get your branding and your mission across. To keep the posts regular, we recommend creating a content calendar. If you have a team that can write in content, that's great. If it's just you, that's great too. Like I said, we recommend 3 to 5 times a week posting as a great start, but if you could post once a day or more, that would be even better. You can create content ahead of time and then schedule it right through Facebook, so you don't actually have to log in and be working on Facebook every day. Though we do recommend you check your Facebook page. Depending on the amount of activity you're getting, daily just so that you're not leaving any comments or questions sit unanswered. Using images as status updates is really beneficial. And then keeping the posts short and sweet and using links when you have a lot of information to get across will be helpful. And again, just encouraging people to interact with your page by asking questions, starting discussions, anything like that will be helpful. And then building your audience is one of the hardest parts of getting a Facebook page really going. To start, since you have the personal accounts, inviting your friends and any other current industry contacts will be a great start. And then networking with other Facebook pages. Once you have your Facebook page set up, you can use Facebook as that page, and you can go to other pages and leave comments or ask questions or like other pages as the page. So that'll create really strong relationships with your organization and other organizations that are relevant or complementary to your goals. We recommend including links to your Facebook page on any and all marketing materials, your website, your newsletter, your blog, in your email signatures, anywhere you can get that link out so that other people will see, oh, they're on Facebook, I better go follow them. That's going to be great. I'm not going to go into Facebook advertising too much, but it is an option that can be pretty budget-friendly to increase your exposure on Facebook. We tend to recommend it more for growing your audience on Facebook rather than to get people to your website or anything like that. And then Facebook Insights is an analytics program right through Facebook that gives you a lot more information on the kinds of posts that are doing well, what days and what times are the best to post, because that's going to be different for every page based on their audience. So that's going to be really important to use if you can dig into that a little bit, even on a monthly basis.
This is Jill Barker. Is it easy now on my blog? After each post, and I don't know how I did this, but I managed to get a Facebook and Twitter link.
Yep.
That's at the bottom of each blog post. Is it easy to get to have something more general near the top of the blog that like VOR does on its website?
Yep, we recommend that. I mean, the more you can publicize that you're on Facebook, Twitter, any social media channels, the better.
Okay, and how do I do that? I mean,
sure,
I don't know. I'm
Facebook
winging it most of the time.
offers a couple of different options for tools. I don't have that link.
Okay, but it would be on Facebook?
Yep, it's right through Facebook. It's in the Facebook help.
Okay.
They would have, which is at the bottom of every page, there's a link to the help, but it can be hard to get to because the timeline keeps scrolling.
Mhm.
But if you,
okay,
it's actually just facebook.com and then it's /help.
Okay.
Will be
great.
All of the buttons that they offer should be within their help features.
Okay, good. Thank you.
It's pretty easy, Jill, too, to find the Facebook icon image online, and if you know how to embed an image into your blog and then hyperlink it, that's just another way around.
And then Facebook also offers some tools where you could have individual on each post that people can like each post on Facebook, and then it's shared on their timeline. So there's a lot of different ways Facebook is making it easy to integrate your Facebook account with your personal blog especially.
Could you explain what like means? I don't completely understand what liking something does.
Sure, that's just the easiest way for a Facebook member to interact with another person's update or anything like that. So if you were to share a blog post on Facebook, I would be able to just click that thumbs up button showing my support and liking it. And that's a factor determined within that edge rank I had mentioned before. Every time someone interacts with something that you post, that Facebook takes it as a sign that what you're posting is important, so they're going to show it on the newsfeed a little bit more, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
On the Facebook page, it would show it on
other people's pages. So all of your fans say they like your page, but that doesn't necessarily mean Facebook is going to show all of your activity to them.
Yeah.
So if you have a higher ed rank, you're more likely to have your information shown on their timelines.
Okay. And also, Adrienne, if you went on to Jill's blog page and liked something she posted, all your followers would see that you liked something she posted too.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So that's another way to gain exposure for a page or for a story, is when people like something that you post. And that's why we've seen a lot of help, or it's been really good for us to say, if we can have a status update and say, like if you agree, so that we're encouraging people to interact with the page or the update like that. All right. So that kind of ties into that, making it easy to share, to use those social sharing links that we talked about through Facebook, or to just include the icon and the hyperlink on the website like VOR does right on the top of the page. And then we also recommend integrating your Facebook page with any other social media profiles you may have. So if you're on Twitter, have a link to your Facebook, or tweet about your Facebook page maybe once a week. Same with LinkedIn, Pinterest, any of those channels. If you can integrate them, you're going to be better off. And then measuring your success, we, from an agency point of view, are always looking to increase and help and enhance our clients' social media presence, and that all kind of stems from making sure that we're succeeding for them and growing it on a regular basis. So if you can establish a baseline of at least the number of fans you have, and then there's people talking about this number at the top of every page, if you can start with that baseline and just once a month check that and record it so that you can make sure that those numbers are growing, you're going to be better off in the long run. And then again, using the Facebook Insights to see what kind of posts worked really well for your page and which weren't as impactful will help you make sure that you are really tailoring your content to your audience. So then, how people can help organizations succeed on Facebook is really simple. It's just through the interacting with the organization's page, liking the VOR page, liking each of the status updates, commenting on a status, or just writing on the brand page's wall. Anything like that will be helpful. And then educating others about your organization through Facebook or through just your interpersonal communication. That's going to be really helpful too. And then from your personal account, if you're sharing your experiences on the organization's page, that's just going to kind of drum up interest in the actual organization, which will be helpful. So then online, beyond Facebook, you can use your blog and your personal website to link to the brand's Facebook page. You can, like I said, use an email blast saying, hey, did you know we're on Facebook? Please follow us here. And then using it in your email signature and everything like that we kind of touched on already. And then the stronger your personal social presence, the more likely people are going to kind of follow you to your brand's Facebook page. So it all kind of ties back into that. And then offline, again, it's all about just talking about your cause to your family and friends, mentioning that you're on Facebook, talking about your mission and how they can help, and recommending the VOR Facebook page or whatever the Facebook page is, creating that community and making people aware that it is a community and they can join in on the discussions online will be really helpful in helping your brand page succeed. So that was kind of a basic run-through of how to use Facebook to work with an organization. Is there any additional questions?
I had one question, Adrienne.
Yep.
This goes back to a question Jill raised about creating a page through her own account. I'm looking at the VOR page right now, and at the very upper right-hand corner it says Create Page. And then when I click that, I'm given all sorts of templates that I could create a page. And
yep.
How will that work relative to both the VOR page and my personal page? And I don't have, just to clarify, I don't have administrative rights to the VOR page or anything. I'm a for this purpose, just a visitor.
Right. So Facebook would not tie the page that you're creating with VOR.
Okay.
It would be tied to your personal account just because that's how you're logged in right now.
Okay. So if Jill or somebody with a blog or anybody wanted to, if Jill goes into her personal account, she'll see that link to create a page.
Yep. Any page that you visit should show you that create page button up at the top.
Okay. But it's only, no matter where I'm at on Facebook, it will link back to my account.
Yep. And that's just, and there will be no link. So even on, if you have you have a blog page all set up, there's never going to be a tie to your personal account unless you were to comment on the page from your personal account.
I see.
If that makes sense. There's no tie between who creates a page. There's no public tie between who creates a page and then what the audience can see on the page.
Okay. It's just a convenient, that's just Facebook making it convenient.
Yep.
For, okay.
Absolutely.
How often can you like something?
You can only ever, you can like a page once, and then you can only like each individual status update once.
Okay.
But you could like and then comment as well.
All right.
Or you could share an individual post. There's the like, comment, and the share are on every post.
In fact, once you click like Jill once, the option changes to unlike. So you can't go through and drum up business or something by clicking like over and over again. It's
right.
Okay. Too bad.
Yeah, good question.
Yep, and we actually also don't recommend that if like the VOR page were to post something, that then the VOR page went and liked that. Just because obviously the page liked it because they posted it, so that's kind of a redundant like. So we're always looking to get other people to like it rather than the actual page.
Are there other questions about Facebook for Adrian? Should we move on to Twitter, using Twitter to advance your cause? Everybody ready? And we can always come back to Facebook too when we're done talking. I think the Twitter section may go a little bit quicker, and so at the end we can combine it all and ask any additional questions. But we had planned for today to have Deanna Dorr, who is the senior publicist at J. Goldstein PR, and also Jill Goldstein, who's the president and founder of that PR firm out of New York. Unfortunately, both got called away to the same client meeting. They helped develop the slides, and they stand ready to answer any questions offline. So if there's something that comes up that I can't answer, or unlikely that Adrian can't answer, we can always tap their expertise after the fact. But Adrian, much like her expertise with Facebook, is also very well informed about Twitter. So I think we can cover a lot of ground, and she's graciously offered her assistance with this section as well. But I'm going to take us through some of the slides just to sort of get the conversation about Twitter going and cover the basics and the spirit of Twitter and how it differs from Facebook. And then we'll open it up for questions to talk about how to put a good tweet together and some of the different strategies for using Twitter to advance your cause and to get your organization's name out there in a credible way. Getting started on Twitter. Well, first of all, I'm actually going to skip ahead. I'm going to talk about the what and why of Twitter, which is slide 20. Unlike Facebook, which has traditionally been a medium it's a chattier medium, for lack of a better word, a more social, back and forth conversational kind of medium. Twitter is more newsy, and it's the hallmark of very short 160 words or less bursts of information, and very kind of headline and real time. What it allows you to do is to get information very quickly to your followers on Twitter and to their followers on Twitter, and that's the magic of Twitter, and then sort of it's like an instant telephone tree. You can instantly put some information out there that's very short and punchy and right away reach all your followers, and using different strategies also reach the followers of your followers. Getting a Twitter account is very easy, and I'm already about at the extent of my knowledge about Twitter, so I'm not going to pretend otherwise. But I can speak to getting started on Twitter is very easy, and I like it very much because you're really forced to put clear, concise information in the shortest amount of words possible with a limit of 160. So it's really I like it for that reason. It's brevity and it's in its real time kind of purpose. But to get started on Twitter, you simply go to twitter.com. You'll be asked to create a username and password. Mine is at Tammy Hopp. VOR's is at VOR_NET. So something that's descriptive and relative to either you as an individual or your cause. And then you'll be asked as a requirement to get started to follow 5 people or organizations. And it's real easy to search for who you already know on Twitter. You'll find VOR simply by searching for VOR, and certainly the names of other individuals or organizations that are relevant to your cause or people you know. Once you're following those 5 people, you're all set up and ready to start tweeting. The basics of a tweet, I said 160, I meant 140 characters. Yeah, that was a mistake, 140 characters. So it is, again, very short bursts of information. And then there's different things you can do within a tweet to copy people, to copy other Twitter accounts, or to draw in a theme using hashtags, which by doing that, you're again not only reaching the followers of the people you're copying or the followers of those particular hashtags. And most tweets will direct you to this additional information. If it's something, especially if a news content, it might tell you the headline or summarize quickly the subject of the news item and point you to a longer news feed if that's something you want to read more about. I really don't want to say more because I'm afraid it'll be misinformation. But maybe Adrian, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, if you could speak first to why Twitter, like Facebook, is a great way to get the name of your organization out there and build credibility for the organization. But then we can maybe, through a question and answer, talk about how to put a good tweet together and different strategies for making your tweet go to many more people.
Sure, absolutely. I'm trying to remember, there's a statistic that we were just talking about the number of people that expect to find brands on social media. And if they can't find you on Facebook or Twitter, there's going to be a disconnect there, and you're going to lose out on the potential to make that relationship turn into something a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely recommend Facebook and Twitter just as a way to reach a broader audience as well as to engage with people that are already online looking for causes to follow, if that makes sense.
It does. Now, before you go further, is it a different kind of person that's on Twitter versus Facebook, or is that those lines getting blurred more and more?
They are getting blurred. It seems like there's a lot of people on Facebook, and it's a different group on Twitter, but it's not necessarily anything other than maybe their personal preference or the fact that the causes and the brands and the things that they're interested in are on Facebook and or Twitter. So to be on both channels, you're going to cast a wider net and be able to understand and just kind of tap into a broader audience than you would be if you were focusing on just one channel or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Tammy, your description of the newsy, the headlines, was a really great way to describe Twitter. Facebook, you're building a community, and you want people to come to your page and interact and talk to other fans and followers and the cause as well, whereas on Twitter you're just you're getting the information out there, and there is some of that interaction, but it's not as prevalent as we see on Facebook.
Now, once you're on Twitter, you can look at anything on Twitter. Is that correct? I mean,
yep.
It's not just somebody who you're following or anything.
Right. You can see any profile can set themselves up to be a private profile so that you would have to, so if you set your Twitter account up to be private, anytime someone wanted to follow you, they would have to send you a request for that, kind of like the Facebook friend request.
Okay.
But unless you specifically set your channel up to be private, anyone can see anything you tweet all the time.
Okay.
That being said, not everyone is going to see everything you tweet all the time. Only your followers are going to see the running news feed or the running timeline of everything that you're tweeting unless they seek your channel out to see what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But it seems to me that people have to be a little bit careful about personal information that they also, like the Twitter account that they're using for communicate things for an organization and then personal stuff.
Absolutely. They should be, if possible, they could be anytime you can create kind of a branded Twitter channel to do any of your, anything for the cause, that's going to be better. So the fact that there's the VOR.net channel and then Tammy has a personal account, she can interact with both, but she can, if she were to be using Twitter for a more personal means, she would use her Tammy account, whereas anything relating to the cause could go right through the VOR.net account.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, and this will get to the basics of a tweet, I find something that, again, I use my personal account more just as I do Facebook to post things that are meaningful to, I think, the VOR family. But when I do that on Twitter, I include usually at the end of my tweet the VOR handle at VOR.net. And my purpose in doing that is rather than sending an email to Jill Goldstein, who manages our VOR account, I just I send the tweet out there, and I believe to be copying her for the purpose of having it either reach our followers directly or having her get it. Is that the right way to do it, or shouldn't I be blending those two worlds as much as I do?
Nope, that's fine. And then when you copy, every time you send a tweet and you put that at VOR_net at the end, Jill will see that, and then she can either retweet that tweet so that everyone can see the information that you passed along, because you just including that at VOR.net does not mean that all of the VOR followers are going to see yours.
Okay.
So she would actually have to retweet your tweet for the VOR audience to see it, or she can just kind of copy and paste and share that information. But it's like an email right to her saying, hey, this is interesting, I think you would appreciate it.
And is that because I've placed, is it the placement at the end?
No, it doesn't matter where in the tweet you use that at, and then whatever account it is you're trying to call out. That's just how that direct mention, it's called, works.
Okay. And how does that differ then from a tag, or is that the same thing?
A hashtag doesn't necessarily relate to any certain account. So if you just use hashtag VOR, Jill wouldn't get a notification that anyone was using that, whereas if you use the at VOR.net, she would get a notification that someone is trying to talk to her directly. So the hashtag you would use if you're trying to tap in on kind of a larger theme or an audience talking about kind of one big topic, whereas the at direct mention will call out one specific account.
Okay.
Adrienne, have they done any studies, demographic studies about Facebook and Twitter?
Yes, and I think actually both Facebook and Twitter have released that information.
Well, what kind of study was that? I didn't hear Cindy's question.
Demographics.
Oh, demographic. Gotcha. Thank you.
And I don't have that off the top of my head, but that is something I could probably dig and try to find.
I can look while we're talking too. It does strike me as a different audience. Like I don't use Twitter maybe as often as I should, but I like it so much better than Facebook. I mean, it just, I don't know what it is about Twitter, but it appeals to my news. You know, I like getting news and headlines, and it's not a lot of reading. It's quick bursts of information. And
yes, absolutely. It's it can be a little less time consuming to be on Twitter, and it's all in real time, so you're only getting that snapshot of what's being said right now, rather than on Facebook you can go and scroll through conversations from a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it is definitely more of like the news, short bursts of real-time information on Twitter. And how people have used Twitter and Facebook has definitely evolved over the years. Just how Facebook has set up the timeline has changed so much from, I mean, back in 2004, 2005 when it was started. So both of the channels are kind of tailoring the experience so that they're used differently. Where when we say to use images on Facebook, we don't tend to recommend to use the images on Twitter just because they don't appear for people. It's an extra link they have to click through to see. So the channels are definitely set up to be used very differently.
I found the study you were referencing, and I can include that in what we're talking about. It looks like from an age group perspective, though, Facebook and Twitter are really target mostly 67% are 18 through 29 years old, which kind of surprises me.
I figured that. I figured it was, you know, I don't want to date ourselves, you know, but.
Well, I can see the appeal. As Adrienne mentioned in the initial section, Facebook started out as something for college students, and I get that. I'm surprised that it's the same age group for Twitter, though.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying about that too. Yeah.
I just pulled up the study. It's that Pew Internet.
Right.
That's what we typically tend to use for our statistics, and it does look like. Yeah, the age. And there's definitely a trend towards the older generations using these accounts. And that's something that we've seen lately on the rise rather than, even 5 years ago. So we definitely don't only think it's that 18 to 29-year-olds on either of these channels. It's just who you create your community for is probably who you're going to reach the most.
Right.
What's the site that you use to check out your
it's
internet?
PEW Internet.
P as in Paul. P as in Paul.
Yep. P as in Paul. E as in Eric.
Yep.
W as in William.
Internet.
Internet.org.
I'll send you the link right now, Cindy, and I'll put that out as I package all this together. I'll include that link.
That's just interesting stuff, that's all.
It is, yeah. Well, and it's helpful, too, because it does, although, the group following the VOR site, for example, or your sites in New Jersey are cause-oriented and probably aren't going to follow any sort of demographic rule, it's still important to know. I mean, it's a great, in terms of thinking who you might want to attract to the site and prospecting and those sorts of things, it's important to know who your prospective audience might be so that those folks are inclined to visit and stay involved. So it's kind of mixing your current audience with future audiences.
Well, not only that, Tammy, I think it's also kind of important to know who your adversaries are and if they're younger and they're using these websites. I know that you said you want to keep your message consistent and your tone quality the same, but also understand that, you may have to change it up a little bit and start using a different tone or whatever. Just like the quote-unquote newsy, but they're not really newsy type of informational channels on TV. They've changed the way they do their business. And so I don't know what that was. But so anyway, we are individually, may want to think about that too as we reach out to a broader demographic audience.
Yeah, good points.
Yep, and then Twitter doesn't offer the kind of analytics that Facebook does, but every page's within that Facebook Insights will break down the demographics of the people who actually like your page by age, gender, country, city, and language. So you will get a better understanding of who has already liked your page through that Facebook Insights as well.
So being a person that doesn't really know nothing about, it's Cindy, so don't quote me anywhere else, about Facebook or Twitter. So when you start your Facebook page, you do need to provide them all that demographic information. Is that correct?
I'm sorry. No, you don't have to provide Facebook with any demographic information for your followers.
Okay.
Through their,
but for
they
yourself.
kind of, yep, for yourself, for that personal account, you can include as much or as little information about yourself as you would like, including your gender or age or.
Okay. So there's no mandatory component to it.
I would have to go through and create a page. I don't know how much is mandatory. I know they have different criteria on how you can name yourself. You can't have a personal page that looks like it's not a real name kind of thing. So they do have some kinds of qualifications on the kind of information you have to provide, but I don't.
So you can't set up a fictitious page?
No, that's against Facebook Terms of Service, and they can either block you from creating the page or the account right off the bat, or they can come back later and just kind of delete it, saying, that you've violated Facebook's Terms of Service.
So there's no way to run a test on a fictitious name or whatever?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
And on Twitter, you just have to make sure that you're not taking the name of someone that, you can't have a Twitter account with the same name as someone who has already established the account. If that makes sense. So nobody could right now create another VOR_net Twitter account.
But somebody else could if we didn't have one.
Yep. If there's not one online already, anyone could have taken that VOR_net account.
So if you want to establish your domain, you should get in there and get it done.
Yep. We always recommend if you start a brand, even if you're not going to be active on it right away, just so that nobody else takes that name from you.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, well, we're coming up on the hour. Did anybody have any questions, any final questions about Facebook or Twitter at this point?
Yeah, this is Joanne. I'm new to Twitter. How do you get in there to find out what people have written? I can find the Twitter account for VOR, but how do you view what they wrote?
If you just if you're visiting the Twitter, it's just the twitter.com/VOR_net. If you're on their Twitter account page, then you can just scroll down to see everything that they have posted.
And you don't have to have your own account to look. Do you have to be a Twitter user to look at?
No, you can be. Sometimes Twitter doesn't show you everything if you're not logged in, but you would definitely get a good snapshot of everything that's been posted.
Does that make sense, Joanne?
Okay, so I went back. I was on Tammy's Twitter page, but now I'm back at VOR. So I see the first one up is mom with disability, child held captive for years. Okay, so if I go on that and I want to see if anybody's written on it.
Yep, and there's not you can't comment on or like a tweet like you can with a Facebook update.
Okay.
So it's more just a snapshot of what VOR has posted rather than how anyone has interacted with it. If you click, do you have the little expand?
Uh-huh.
If you click that, there should be a little drop down, so it'll show you that one person retweeted that.
Okay. And if I want to see what they wrote?
And a retweet is typically just they kind of copy and paste that, exactly what VOR wrote, and then they publish it from their personal account.
Oh, okay.
So that wouldn't be any of a kind of a conversation at all. It would just kind of be the copy and paste, like someone forwarded it along if you were thinking in email terms.
Okay, the next one says it has 3 retweets.
Yep, that retweet is that kind of forwarding of the information.
Okay.
And those pictures next to it are who those retweets were from. So
Got
Tammy, and then this actually, that one came from Jill's personal page.
Uh-huh.
She retweeted it through the VOR account, so that's why you're seeing it here.
Okay. And then I have to click on those little icons of the actual people that did the retweets, and then I could read what they wrote.
Yep, then you would be taken through to their personal account, and you can read through what they've been posting on Twitter.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily like a back-and-forth conversation between them. The retweet doesn't mean that an interaction took place, or it's usually just a sign that they forwarded it on to their followers.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
So that their followers see the same information that they're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and
thanks.
I would imagine strategically for an organization, a mix of original and retweets are important, or they kind of say different things. The original kind of makes you relevant. You're the one bringing the information, but retweeting also signals information so compelling or interesting that it warranted retweeting.
Yep, there's retweeting, and then there's favoriting, which is not as popular as it used to be. I just noticed I scrolled down, and one of the Good Luck on Capitol Hill VOR was favorited by someone, and that just kind of gets stored in another section of their account.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then if someone had hit reply to any of them, that would be the conversation going back and forth. So you can see on all of these, if you're hovering over the expand, you'll get the reply, retweet, favorite, and more.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh.
So those are just all the different options you have to interact with certain information.
Mm-hmm. That's helpful. Okay.
And that reply would be like the direct mention, so whoever you're talking back to would kind of get a notification that you want to start the Twitter conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then if for some reason, I just want to touch on, you wanted to send a personal tweet to someone that only they would be able to see, that you would do...
It's under with the little tool wheel, tools, and then if you see under there it says direct messages.
Yep, that's where all of yours would show up.
Yep. And that's I have heard from a couple people who found me and knew me to be associated with VOR, but couldn't get further for some reason. They wanted to be in touch with VOR, but they sent a direct message because they couldn't find an email, and they couldn't. Anyway, it was their best strategy for reaching VOR. So direct messages can be effective from our perspective if we want to interface with somebody in an organization and there's not a clear path, there's not a published email or something like that. It's one strategy to try and coalesce or reach out to other organizations who might share your perspective.
Yep. The only problem with that is you can't send a direct message to another Twitter account unless they're following you too.
Yes, that's true.
So that is one roadblock to the direct messages. But if if Tammy wanted to send a direct message to Jill at the VOR account about something she wanted to post or wanted removed from the post, that would be an easy way to keep it all on Twitter.
Okay. How do you want to email or hate postings? Can you?
Can you delete them?
How do you handle them?
Oh, how do you handle them? Good question.
You can delete postings. You can delete anything on Twitter, but that doesn't mean that people haven't already seen it. It's obviously not going to erase it from people who have already read it. But to delete one, you would just go to your personal, or you go to your account, and then where the reply, there's a delete function right there.
Can you block people?
Yep, you can block people. you just would go to their account, and then in that there's a little person silhouette with a arrow pointing down, and it lets you tweet to, add or remove from list, and then block, and then report them as spam is another option you have.
Huh.
And when you block them, they can still be talking about you, can still be direct mentioning you, you just don't see it anymore.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So it's free speech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we actually don't often recommend blocking on Twitter just because then you are losing out on seeing what other people are saying, even if it is.
It really doesn't make sense because you have no control, really. I mean, if somebody's going to say something, they're going to say it.
Right.
Okay. What about Facebook? Because I know some people use certain strategies to post certain things to other people's walls, I guess it is.
Yep, absolutely. And you can block on Facebook. And if you block, if it's with your personal account, you can just unfriend them, and then they can't interact with your page any longer, or with your personal account. And then from a page standpoint, you can block users, and then they no longer have access to writing on the wall or anything like that. So Facebook does give you a little bit more control. So they could still be mentioning you in their personal or on their page, but they couldn't directly tie it to your Facebook wall or your Facebook account.
Right.
Yeah. I noticed that on VOR Twitter, under that little person, or I could go there to block VOR or to turn off retweets. That means that VOR wouldn't be able to retweet my messages, or?
I believe that just means you wouldn't see.
I wouldn't see their retweets?
Yes. So you would only see their specific or their unique information. If they were retweeting Tammy or Julie or anything like that, you wouldn't see those. But if they were publishing unique content, that's what you would see.
Okay.
And that's just to manage the information flow. You have to weed through. Yeah.
Yep, that's just, they just will no longer appear in your timeline.
Mhm.
And you can turn that off or on depending on, there's just a lot of accounts that all they do is retweet. Like they never publish any information that's unique to them or new information, so that's kind of an easy way to see who's actually giving valuable information and who's just doing the retweets from other people's information.
Mhm. Excellent. Okay, we're right exactly an hour based on when we really got started. Is in respect for everybody's time, are there any final questions?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Adrian. Yeah, I will. I did make a recording of this, and I'll explore strategies for promoting it among our membership. Just because I think there are. I mean, Adrian, you're just a fountain of information and so skilled at all this, both the mechanics of social media, but strategies behind it. And I really want to share that expertise much more broadly. So thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and knowledge.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And thanks all for attending. I appreciate it. It was a good dialogue.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye.